Good evening. This concert is dedicated to the luminous life and spirit of Sally Gordon. We miss her and we welcome her family. Winters in Scandinavia are long, dark. They induce brooding. They are a Bergman film that lasts 4 months. A time to spin folktales by the fire about trolls, imps, elves, witches. The first reading selection tonight is a grotesque fantasy Per Gynt is having of his wedding to the daughter of the king of the mountain, the king of the trolls. Then comes summer, with its endless days of elation, the scent of pine forests, the drama of the fjords, colorful village embroidery, folk dances. You can hear it all in Grieg's music. Having gone to pick berries in Finland at midnight, I learned that they are sweeter and more succulent because of their longer exposure to sunlight. Artists inspire and stimulate one another. Edvard Munch painted a portrait of Ibsen and illustrated the playbill for Per Gynt. Norwegian composer Johan Svendsen, a close friend of Grieg's, had a stormy, chaotic marriage. In 1883, in a fit of anger, his wife threw the only copy of his Symphony No. 3 in the fire. This incident was used by Ibsen in his play Hedda Gabler. So it wasn't a total loss. In the play, it is a scholarly manuscript rather than a musical score. If you're wondering what the Brahms trio has to do with Grieg, I'd like to tell you about an auspicious, fateful dinner that took place on New Year's Day in 1887, and which ties together our entire program. Adolf Brodsky was a virtuoso Russian violinist who had premiered the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto and lived in Leipzig. Tchaikovsky arrived in Germany to conduct his music, and the Brodskys invited him to dinner. Knowing how shy and nervous he was with strangers, they didn't tell him that on that day there would be a rehearsal of the Brahms trio at their house with Brahms at the piano. It was the first time Tchaikovsky met Brahms. He had never understood nor liked Brahms's music. And though he found him congenial, unassuming and warm, his feelings about his music remained unchanged. When the trio was over, there was an awkward, uneasy feeling in the room. What will Tchaikovsky say? He was such an upright person. It might have become sticky, but at that moment, the door was flung open, and Grieg and his wife Nina came in, bringing, as always, sunshine and cheer, making everybody feel at home. They were dear friends of the Brodskys, and the evening ended in an amiable dinner. Nina Grieg was a good singer, and following these frequent dinners, would sing her husband's songs with him accompanying at the piano. Soon after, Grieg came with a manuscript of his third violin sonata, which received its first reading at the Brodskys' home and was premiered by the two friends shortly after. A subtitle for this concert could have been A Night at the Brodskys. Nora, the mutinous housewife in Doll's House, created powerful shockwaves throughout Europe, challenging what was then the accepted view of the place of women in society. In a speech he gave in Norway to the Society of Women's Rights, Ibsen said, "I must disclaim the honor of having consciously worked for women's rights. To me, it has been a question of human rights." He stands second to Shakespeare in the pantheon of playwrights, and we are happy to have the First Lady of Shakespeare, Tina, with us. She is also the champion of Ibsen's cause. By the way, the information about Brahms is in the program is inaccurate. He did not live to be 130, and the correct dates are 1833 to 1897. Those mischievous trolls, they will get everywhere. Welcome.